Lovely to see you all. Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes, lovely. Very good. Well, look, so sad but so wonderful. Such a sad thing that Benjamin has gone. I couldn't believe it when it happened. And yet here we are anyway. We're celebrating his life, remembering his life, and the way in which he affected so many of us. I was just reflecting when someone was asking me questions before. He had the ability to talk to everybody. Whether he was on Jonathan Ross, he was on Graham Norton, he was on Question Time, and then he was in every locality in the country. Story after story I've heard of him helping this writer, that writer. I worked with a guy called Christian Foley. He said that Christian said he wrote to him when Christian was about 14 and sent him some raps that he had written, and Benjamin replied, and then they were writing to each other for weeks on end, and now Christian is a performer and going about because of that one-on-one thing that he had with Benjamin. The same guy, as I say, was on Jonathan Ross and Graham Norton, and he could sit there on Question Time and just talk at politicians, people who puffed themselves up and thought they were so important, and Benjamin just sat there with a smile on his face and said his stuff. And I asked him once, I said, how do you do it, Benjamin? They ask me sometimes to go on Question Time, and basically, just to be crude about it, I shit myself. I just think I couldn't do it. I'd be so nervous, and also I'd just start blathering. I'd start talking about things in some kind of abstract way and trying to make things more complicated. I said, how do you do it, Benjamin? You just sort of like explain everything and it all comes clear. And he said, well, I just imagine or I just think I'm talking to my mum. What? It's just so simple, but at the same time so Benjamin that he could explain these things, whether it was interest rates or different kinds of racism or, I don't know, foreign policy. And he was just talking with his mum on national telly. But she wasn't there. I mean, it was just so brilliant when he said that. And in fact, I'm going to tell you another story which ends up with the poem, because I'm not sure whether people have celebrated Benjamin's work for children, because that was the other thing. He was tireless in writing for them, doing workshops, working at an outfit where I work at called the Centre for Literacy and Primary Education. You could see a lovely long interview with him there, not all that long before he died, in fact. A wonderful long interview about why he wrote and so on, for children. And I was out with some children by the side of the River Thames where the railway bridge goes over. And I don't know whether you know, but there's a law or a rule, I think maybe in the Bible, that if 30 children stand underneath a railway bridge and a train goes over, you'll know the reference from the Bible, and when the train goes over, they all go, wah! All together very, very loudly. Anyway, you'll find the reference, Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, one or the other. Anyway, and they do this, and I said, well, actually, if you come over here and put your hands on the bit holding up the bridge, you can actually feel the train. You can actually feel the rhythm of the train. And the moment I said that, Benjamin came to my mind, because I'd once had to interview Benjamin on the radio, and I don't know whether you know how radio interviews work. You've got the cans on like this, and while you're asking the questions, the producer sometimes talks to you. So you're, in fact, quite muddled most of the time, at least I am, anyway. And so while I was asking the questions, the interviewer said, ask him where he writes his poems. And I thought to myself, that's not going to be a very good question, because, mostly poets go at home or in a book and things like that. But I asked it. I said, Benjamin, where do you write your poems? And he said, I don't write them. And there's that moment, when you're interviewing people and your mouth goes dry because the whole interview has fallen apart and you're looking like complete crap. And he's going, I don't write them. I thought, where am I going to go with this? So I just said, you don't write them, but thinking, who does write them? Has Benjamin got like a little team behind him? Anyway, I said, Benjamin, what do you mean? He said, I make them up in my head when I go for a run. I said, what? He said, yeah, that way I know the poem off by heart when I get to the end of the run. And I went, oh, right, yeah, duh. I said, yeah, hadn't thought of that before. Anyway, so as I said that line, hands on the bridge feel the rhythm of the train, I thought that could be the beginning of a poem, and I could set myself the Benjamin Zephaniah challenge. Yeah? See if I can make up a poem in my head. I won't actually go for a run. That surprised you. In fact, I'll just get on the tube. Yeah, the tube, spelled C-H-U-B-E, the tube. Anyway, I always tell children this. It's every session now I do ends up being a tribute to Benjamin, you see, because I always tell this story. It's how I now open all my shows with kids. And so I said, I'll set myself the Benjamin Zephaniah challenge. So I sat on the tube, and I sat there going, hands on the bridge, and the next line can go, no, you could do that. I don't know what that looked like. There's this bloke sitting on the train going, anyway, when I got to the end of the journey, end of the tube journey, I had a poem. And it went like this. Hands on the bridge feel the rhythm of the train. Hands on the window feel the rhythm of the rain. Hands on your throat feel the rhythm of your talk. Hands on your leg feel the rhythm of your walk. Hands in the sea feel the rhythm of the tide. Hands on your heart feel the rhythm inside. Hands on the rhythm feel the rhythm of the rhyme. Hands on your life feel the rhythm of time. So it worked. Thank you. So the Benjamin Zephaniah challenge, it worked. But the other thing that Benjamin said to me, he said that if you make up a poem in your head, when you perform it to people, it's like almost like they kind of know it, and they can do it back to you. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. No, never mind. Okay. So thank you, Benjamin. That bit didn't quite work. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to teach it to you line by line, and then we're all going to do it together as a tribute to the late, great Benjamin Zephaniah. Hang on. We're going to do you line by line. You do it with the actions, even the blokes. Here we go. Okay. Hands on the bridge, feel the rhythm of the train. Hands on the bridge, feel the rhythm of the train. Hands on the window, feel the rhythm of the rain. Hands on the window, feel the rhythm of the rain. Hands on your throat, feel the rhythm of your talk. Hands on your throat, feel the rhythm of your talk. Hands on your leg, feel the rhythm of your walk. Hands on your leg, feel the rhythm of your walk. Hands in the sea, feel the rhythm of the tide. Hands in the sea, feel the rhythm of the tide. Hands on your heart, feel the rhythm inside. Hands on your heart, feel the rhythm inside. Hands on the rhythm, feel the rhythm of the rhyme. Hands on the rhythm, feel the rhythm of the rhyme. Hands on your life, feel the rhythm of time. Hands on your life, feel the rhythm of time. Lovely. Okay, so now we've got it. I'm going to count you in. I'm going to help you as we go. Here we go. Stand by. Benjamin Zephaniah challenge number 2. Here it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bridge. Hands on the bridge, feel the rhythm of the train. Window. Hands on the window, feel the rhythm of the throat. Hands on your throat, feel the rhythm of your talk. Leg. Hands on your leg, feel the rhythm of your walk. Sea. Hands in the sea, feel the rhythm of the tide. Heart. Hands on your heart, feel the rhythm inside. Rhythm. Hands on the rhythm, feel the rhythm of the rhyme. Life. Hands on your life, feel the rhythm of time. Wow. So Benjamin was right twice, and it's wonderful to be able to do that tribute to him. In fact, I started doing it while he was still alive, and I always wanted to tell him. I said, Benjamin, I wanted to say, you know that thing about you telling me you don't write your poems? I said, I wanted to tell him, and I never did, but never mind. We keep doing it. Now, Chan said I had to read a poem. One of Benjamin's poems, and I was going to read a poem anyway, but then she told me which poem. Thank you, Chan, that's great. The only problem is it's in dialect. It's in patois, so thanks a lot. So, all right, okay. So all of you, fluent and perfect with your patois, right, you can all take the piss while I do this, all right? So give me a break, just see me through with this. I'm only doing this because Chan told me to. Here we go. It's called Trees, Please. That bit's not in dialect. You see, I know. Here we go. Leave the trees, please, because the trees work with the breeze to put all living things at ease. So leave the trees, please. You see, down in Somerset, England, you know a tree that is 1,500 years old. That is a wise tree. That is a tree I need to talk to. That is a tree we animals should listen to. For millions of animals, trees are a home. Trees can help shelter your home. So leave the trees alone. Trees make oxygen. Let me say that again. Trees make oxygen, so make a tree your friend. Leave the trees, please, because the trees work with debris to put all living things at ease. And they help the birds and bees. Old and wise are all of these. So leave the trees, please. Just leave the trees, please. I'm sorry. I would never take the liberty. I'm very sorry. I apologize to all of you for whom that is your language. All right, the great Louise Bennett called that nation language, and I would hate to steal it in that way. So you just saw a wonderful example of cultural appropriation, and you can spit on me on the way out, so okay. Right, this one is in standard, and I'm going to do it through, and then, again, it's one of the children's ones, so I wanted to do this. I'll do it once through, and you'll be able to join in with it as I go, and then I'll do it once more. You've got to remember the names of dances and the names of countries. So this was one of Benjamin's lovely poems for children. In Hawaii, they hula. They tango in Argentina. They reggae in Ja. And they rumba down in Q. In Trinidad and Tobago, they do the A little bit slow on that one, guys. Never mind, we'll carry on. And in Spain, the Spanish, they really do In the Punjab, they... Yes, get in there. They Bhangra, how they dance Kathak in India. Over in Guatemala, they dance the sweet marimba. Yeah, nearly. Even foxes dance a lot. They invented the fox. Yeah, in Australia, it's true. They dance to the didgeridoo. In Kenya, they... Yeah, I thought I'd get you on that one. Well done, Benjamin. Good. In Kenya, they benga. They high life in Ghana. Get in. They dance ballet all over and Rai dance in Algeria. They jali in Mali. In Brazil, they samba. The girls do belly dancing in the northern parts of Africa. In the Maghreb, yeah. Everybody does the disco from Baghdad to San Francisco. Many folk with razzmatazz can't help dancing to... They do the jig in Aya. And it's really true, they still Morris dance in England. You found that one really hard, yeah. And his throwaway line at the end is, when they can find time to. Okay, here we go, let's see. Okay, this time I want you to get it all the way through. Here we go. In Hawaii, they tango in, they reggae in, and they rumba down in Trinidad, and they do the... Yeah, well done, that's really good. And in Spain, the Spanish really do in the Punjab, they dance Kathak in... Over in Guatemala, they dance the sweet Even foxes dance a lot. They invented the fox. In Australia, it's true, they dance to the... In Kenya, they... I did teach you that. Benjamin said it's supposed to work. Benjamin Zephaniah challenge number 3. In Kenya, they benga, they high life. In Ghana, they dance ballet all over. And Rai dance in Algeria. They jali in Brazil, they... And the girls do belly dancing in the northern parts of Africa. Everybody does the disco from Baghdad to San Francisco. Many folk with razzmatazz cannot help dancing too. They do the jig in Ireland, and it's really true, they still Morris dance in when they can find time to. Yeah, well done, well done. I once met Benjamin on a picket line because during the first of those two wars, the Gulf War and the Iraq War, I always forget which one is which, they're both horrible, and Benjamin was there and we were there, and it was because they'd just interned an Iraqi guy who was a friend, Benjamin knew him well, called Abbas, And Benjamin and I were there, and we sat and talked about the Middle East, and he told me about going to the West Bank and told me a lot, his thoughts all about the Middle East. Well, it wasn't all that long after when there was the war. How many wars on Gaza can there be? Israel banned a radio advert listing names of children killed in Gaza. I'll say that again. Israel banned radio advert listing names of children killed in Gaza. That was a headline in The Guardian in 2014. So I wrote this. Don't mention the children. Don't name the dead children. The people must not know the names of the dead children. The names of the children must be hidden. The children must be nameless. The children must leave this world having no names. No one must know the names of the dead children. No one must say the names of the dead children. No one must even think that the children have names. People must understand that it would be dangerous to know the names of the children. The people must be protected from knowing the names of the children. The names of the children could spread like wildfire. The people would not be safe if they knew the names of the children. Don't name the dead children. Don't remember the dead children. Don't think of the dead children. Don't say dead children. Thank you. And that's the situation we're in now. There may well be thousands of children that will never know their names under the rubble and so on. And talking of that rubble, I saw on social media the phrase, the Gaza Riviera, built on the bones of dead children. And I imagined someone holidaying there. 5 years' time, 10 years' time, I don't know, it could be 20 years' time, holidaying in Gaza. And so in the voice of that person, I wrote this. The beach on the Med is soft and sandy. The airport nearby is cheap and handy. The clouds in the sky are far and few. It's cocktails time in a room with a view. It's always good to have ideas and plans, and no one here has blood on their hands. There are pics of old Gaza on the hotel wall. We bought an Arab rug in the shopping mall. We came out here for a wedding celebration. What we see is quality regeneration. It's always good to have ideas and plans, and no one here has blood on their hands. The people here are doing things properly. I myself deal with land and property. I reckon this place is going to be great for people like me in real estate. It's always good to have ideas and plans, and no one here has blood on their hands. If you buy right now, you'll make a killing. Out at sea, they're going to start drilling. The clouds in the sky are far and few. It's time for cocktails in a room with a view. It's always good to have ideas and plans, and no one here has blood on their hands. Thank you. And then a lot of these kinds of poems, if I write these, I'm thinking of Benjamin. He's in my head. And I'm thinking, how would Benjamin write? Well, I don't write in his voice, but I think, how would I write like Benjamin if I write like me, if you see what I mean? And that's how a lot of writers, you can do that. You put the person inside your head, and then you write in your own voice. It's quite hard to describe, but I've done that. And I saw that Robert Jenrick, incredibly wise and brilliant man, he was the immigration minister under one of the 8 prime ministers who came before the present lot. And he ordered that a mural of Mickey Mouse be taken off the wall of an asylum seekers reception centre. The mural was painted over because he thought they were too welcoming and sent the wrong message. So I thought I'd write just a little Benjamin-type squib. Paint over Mickey Mouse, burn where the wild things are, pulverise the Lego, set fire to the Christmas tree star, seize all the teddies, bury every skipping rope, paint the walls dark brown, abolish all hope. Thank you. And then, as a tribute today to all the people who cared for Chian, and because you know Chian was very, very ill, and that Benjamin cared for Chian, not knowing that inside him he was ill. And then when Chian got better, then Benjamin was ill, and we know the rest. And they were cared for at great length, obviously, in hospital. And so I wrote a poem that was a tribute to the NHS, the National Health Service. I wrote it for the 60th anniversary. I was actually born just before the NHS. I was born in 1946. And my parents, when I was growing up, they never let me forget what it was like before we had a National Health Service. In fact, Benjamin's family, there are people who worked all their lives in the NHS. So this is for all of them and for all of you, everybody who ever uses the NHS, which I think is everybody, so I didn't need to say that really. So here we are. These are the hands that touch us first, feel your head, find the pulse, and make your bed. These are the hands that tap your back, test the skin, hold your arm, wheel the bin, change the bulb, fix the drip, pour the jug, replace your hip. These are the hands that fill the bath, mop the floor, flick the switch, soothe the sore, burn the swabs, give us a jab, throw out sharps, design the lab. And these are the hands that stop the leaks, empty the pan, wipe the pipes, carry the can, clamp the veins, make the cast, log the dose, and touch us last. Thank you. And in 2020, I was in a coma. They decided to put me to sleep for 40 days and 40 nights, actually. It's quite biblical of them, really, wasn't it? I'll just clear it up. I'm not Jesus. I mean, he was Jewish, and so am I. So anyway, but that's where the resemblance ends. In fact, when I talk to children about that, and I say they put me to sleep for 40 days and see whether they could remember anything, and some of them say Jesus, and some of them remember Noah. Noah, you remember, it was raining for 40 days and 40 nights. And then I say, hang on a minute, can anyone remember what Noah's wife's name was? There's a lot of puzzle, and we all think about it. Some people decide it's Mrs. Noah. And then one girl that was in the school, and I said, anyone know? And this girl said, Stephanie. Anyway, so just for future reference for you, if anyone ever says, what's Noah's wife's name, remember, Stephanie. Okay, when I heard that Benjamin had died, I wrote something very quickly that I wanted to be in Benjamin's voice, but in my voice, in the way that I've just described. And there'll be bits at the end, I think, where you'll be able to join in. I wrote, Benjamin Zephaniah, he was a giant of fire, 1,000 rhymes on his tongue, dazzling us all, old or young, cutting through the politicians, word conjurer and magician. It was his profession to fight oppression, Rastafarian, egalitarian, invincible man of principle. Benjamin Zephaniah, he was a giant of fire. One more time. Benjamin Zephaniah, he was a giant of fire. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.